And I ain't never did this before. No, and I ain't never did this before. The real J. Cole story. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Publish X. You know, we been going crazy today. We're gonna do a lot today. We not really gonna talk too much. Me, in my opinion, J. Cole definitely came a long way. He definitely came a long way from regular songs like that to like being way more lyrical. And I always knew he had it in him. Kind of reminds me of Kendrick Lamar too. Like him and like J. Cole kind of go hand in hand to me. Let me know what y'all think. But without further ado, we're gonna get straight into the video.
This documentary was made possible with the help of our friends over at Earth Echo. Click the link in the description and use code PUBLISHX for 15% off your entire purchase. They were thoughtful enough to send me one of their Keiko Bliss products to share with you guys. On the outside, this may look like a regular chocolate, but it's
Cacao.
actually more of a superfood. As you can see, this comes packaged with a
But I
complimentary
know
cup and
somebody
even a
not gonna want to
frother for
watch
all the hot
that,
chocolate
so
and coffee lovers out there.
let's get straight
Earth Echo
into
was
it.
in your overall support the channel in the process. Thank you.
Oh yes, I know because I'm therapist, son. Yo, check this out. Add the hi-hats. Yo, I appeal to the criminal mind.
San Andreas.
Blinded, this shit is so timeless. You need to open your eyes. You catnapping. My squad blast track sleeps. Backtracking. Now what you know about it?
Jermaine Cole was born January 28, 1985 in Frankfurt, Germany. His father, who was serving in the US Army, was stationed there, and he grew up alongside with his mother. Unfortunately, his parents would separate shortly after. Jermaine, his older brother Zach, and mom would all move to North Carolina. His father would later abandon the family during their youth, leaving his mother to raise them alone with some help from his aunt and cousin. The feeling of abandonment from his dad would be one of the driving forces in him wanting to be something great when he grew up. Growing up in North Carolina, he stated it was a multi-ethnic experience. He stated he can identify with white people because of his mother and her side of the family, but he says he never really felt like one of them. He always felt like he identified more with how he looks because that's how he was treated, but not necessarily in a bad way. During his youth, he developed love for basketball and music, and even played the violin for a number of years. Although things were never
That nigga
easy
tall
growing
enough for
up, his
basketball.
mother would eventually meet his stepdad, and with their new combined income, they were able to move into a larger home. That house was 2014 Forest Hills Drive in Fayetteville. With his own room now, he could really begin to spend time by himself, listening to music he liked. After seeing his cousin rap at the age of 12, he began rapping and writing his first ideas down. But it was difficult to find beats and means of recording himself. In the meantime, he worked on his wordplay, and he learned how to incorporate storytelling in his songs. He based his initial flow off of Master P, but quickly started studying other artists like Jay-Z
Jay-Z.
and Nas. Being from North Carolina, he would hear a mixture of all kinds of music. From southern hip-hop to East Coast, it would all blend together. Throughout his teenage years, he would slowly cultivate his own unique mixture of all these styles. Initially rapping and producing under the name Blaza, but after linking with the local rap duo Bomb Shelter, they all agreed the name had to go. He then thought about other names such as The Therapist, but this came problematic during the MySpace era, because when you use URLs like myspace.com/therapist, it sort of looks like The Rapist. He finally settled on a
Yeah.
simpler moniker by shortening his name to J. Cole. Bomb Shelter would introduce Cole to his first ever performance when he was 15. After the local shows, they would invite people from the crowd on stage to battle rap. It was at one of these shows that he would gain a huge confidence boost after beating out other rappers who were much older. From that point on, Bomb Shelter invited Cole to come use their studio whenever he wanted, and this quickly became more frequent. His mom would drop him off and pick him up almost every day, and he started to take notes on what equipment they were using so he could eventually have his own setup at home. At 15, things changed when his mother bought him a $1,300 ASRX machine for
Oh
Christmas.
shoot.
At the time, $1,300 was a huge deal, and in order to convince his
Yeah.
mom of this purchase, he agreed to buy his own clothes for the next year, as well as pay his own way for basketball camp. This phase was his introduction to production and sampling his own beats. He would take time away from writing to try and improve on this, because he knew it was important. Eventually, he graduated from Terry Sanford High School in 2003. He decided he only wanted to apply for universities in New York City, believing this would bring him closer to the heart of the East Coast rap and a record deal. He ended up being accepted into St. John's University in Queens on a scholarship. He majored in computer science before switching it to communications later, after he witnessed what he said was the lonely life of his computer science professor. Throughout his years in college, he would develop into a person and artist he is today, but not everything that happened in this time was positive.
The golden child.
While Cole was in New York, things back home started to go downhill. His stepdad, who was in Thailand at the time, stopped paying the mortgage on their home without telling anyone. The house was foreclosed and his mom was forced to move into an apartment. While going through rough times, his mom would soon find herself in another unhealthy relationship, and she even got addicted to hard drugs. Cole was
Damn.
trying his hardest to juggle school, work, and his music career while attending St. John's, but he was confident he was on the right path, and he knew eventually he would be recognized for his worth. While in college, he made it a point to attend different events around the city in hopes of building connections. Events such as Dave Chappelle's Block Party, where footage shows a young J. Cole in the crowd, or the 40/40 Club for Aaron Reed's birthday, where he knew Jay-Z would be in attendance, so he wore a shirt with the words "Produced for Jay-Z" or "Die Tryin'." Unfortunately, he would go unnoticed by Jay-Z, and again when he attempted to give him a CD of beats outside his studio. But he didn't lose hope.
In Jay-Z's way, he was basically trying to say, like, yo, at that time he was the president. Like, I'm the president of Def Jam. Like, I don't grab demos. He was like, give it to one of those guys.
Although his attempts to meet mainstream artists had failed, he had already been making friends on and off campus, which would help build the foundation of his own imprint, Dreamville. Dreamville would form in 2007 shortly after Cole graduated from college and teamed up with his friend Ibrahim. This was the beginning and end to two major chapters in his life. Shortly after graduating, he found himself straying lost. He was still making music, but after watching his friends get jobs, he wasn't sure of his next move. People around him noticed and told him he needed to focus up and keep going. He was falling behind on rent, but was able to stay when the landlord let it slide, stating he believed in him. But the pressure
That's
was
dope.
building.
Love you, landlord.
On May 4th, 2007, he released his first official mixtape, The Come Up, along with his first music video for his single Simba. He self-produced 12 of the 21 tracks, and it's easy to see why this project didn't go unnoticed. It was his first project, but the years of work behind it was noticeable, and word began to spread. Although Jay-Z was hesitant to hear his work just a year before, he would get a hold of the project and reach out, signing J. Cole to Roc Nation and changing his life forever. In 2009, his first Roc Nation project, The Warm Up, was released with songs like Dreams and Lights Please. This project would be streamed over 100 million times and go 2 times platinum, making J. Cole look like the next big artist. But there was still a wide audience of people who were sleeping on his music, and he knew that. This only made him want to get better and make every new project sound better than the last. In 2010, he would be featured on the XXL Freshman
Nipsey
list,
Hussle.
along with other blog sites who were now picking up his music. He dropped his third mixtape, Friday Night Lights, as fans patiently waited on an album. The album wouldn't come until September 27, 2011, which was 4 years after his first mixtape. It didn't matter though, In Cold World exceeded expectations, selling over 200,000 copies its first week. The success of the album would put J. Cole's name in front of the mainstream, gaining him a world tour and having multiple songs like Nobody's Perfect and Work Out played non-stop on the radios. He spent most of 2012 riding off this massive momentum he now had, touring and scouting new talent for his Dreamville label that he had plans on taking to another level. In 2013, he returned with 2 more EPs, Truly Yours 1 and 2, followed by his second album, Born Sinner. Just like he intended, every project was doing bigger numbers than the last, but he still felt like he had more to prove. Just a couple months later, he would unveil that his third studio album was already in the works. This is where many people believe Cole proved he wasn't going anywhere. At this point, he had already released 7 successful projects, and while he was receiving love from all over the world, there were still people who doubted him and were waiting for his fall off.
It'd be
I had to
like
get over
that.
fear and say, fuck it. It was very important for me to come do that shit front to back for y'all, man, on some real shit. Because this album means so much to me, and I want to share with y'all right now. Yeah, no reality shit.
2014 Forest Hills Drive dropped in December of 2014. Named
I
after the
definitely
address he
remember that.
lived in for his young adult life, the project was something special for him and the fans. Songs like No Role Models and Wet Dreams would stand out, but not by much, as the 13-track project consisted of hit songs. The album is now famed for having been successful without any features, making him the first artist to do this in over 25 years. Unfortunately, there would be a large 2-year gap where new music was scarce, besides verses from his Dreamville projects Revenge of the Dreamers 1 and 2. In a time where everyone was trying to stand out, J. Cole took a more humbling approach, simply rapping about the things he went through before the fame, and how he can inspire and use his platform to spread messages of love. Some would say this was a large turning point in his career, and it's as if he had a realization after receiving everything he once dreamed of. It was time to put that success to a new meaning. For Your Eyes only dropped exactly 2 years after Forest Hills Drive on December 9th, 2016. And then in April of 2018, KOD was released
Yep.
and broke multiple streaming records. Taking a different approach on this project, saying it was inspired by the SoundCloud rap era that was taking the industry by storm. This showed how diverse he actually was, and he touched on topics such as drug use, addiction, and depression. From 2018 to present, he's been considered the savior of hip-hop, only appearing when we seem to need him the most. He's announced 3 projects to be released shortly: It's a Boy, The Off Season, and The Fall Off. Although some people believed he was implying retirement after these releases, that's since been shot down, as he stated in an interview. I'm super comfortable with the potential of being done with this shit, but I'm never gonna say that's my last album because I never know how I feel in 2, 3, or 10
Right.
years down the road. J. Cole has taken a large chapter out of hip-hop's history books the last decade. He went from being months behind on rent to a Grammy-winning artist, label owner, and role model for the generations behind him. This is what he would want you to hear.
Any musician, period, any artist, I think just absolutely do what's in your heart. Period. Say what's on your mind.
This the end?
Speak
Goddamn.
what's in your
Goddamn. Shout out to Publish X, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to J. Cole. Let me know what's your favorite J. Cole song. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, and I'm always say I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Love is love, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.